Oh, this is a feel-good story. Victorians show it should be done. Daniel Andrews slams protesters for hate speech after cancellation of drag storytime event. Fantastic result, you Victorians. Well done. As long as it's not a false flag. It doesn't look like it is. Looks like this was actually, because it's on a specific day. So, and no new laws have been mentioned. So, look, it's a feel-good story. Stan blasted a group. Because you know what you're doing on the side of right when Dan Andrews is pissed off at you. Like, if he's happy with you, you go, okay, hang on, whoa, I don't like the sound of this. What's wrong with what I'm doing? When he's having a go at you, that's when you feel most comfortable. All right, I'm doing okay. This afternoon, City of Monash announced the controversial, just remember that, they've mentioned controversial, drag storytime event have been scrapped, citing advice from Victoria Police that it should not proceed. Victoria Police saying it should not proceed because of the protesters? Or they actually thinking, I don't like the fucking look at this, look at these fucking characters. So second paragraph, so it was in consultation with the police following repeated threats of violence and intimidation. Well, that's a crime against councillors. So police got any ongoing investigations? Or are they just, oh look, yeah, just don't hold it, eh? Yeah, okay, everyone's happy now. Monash CEO Andy Diamond, spelled with an I, could be a chick, said hateful and threatening commentary and misinformation. Well, hang on. Threatening commentary? So they didn't actually, are they just sort of talking and you've making comments and you've interpreted it as being threatening? Because that'd explain why there's no police investigation. And misinformation. Well, I mean, how could it be misinformation? You just got a man dressed in women's clothing wanting to address intimately in a story time with a bunch of kids. There's no misinformation there. He went on to say, or she, it's incredibly disappointing to have to cancel an event designed to celebrate. Oh, it was a celebration. I didn't realise that. The International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia. It's a lot of phobias these days. Can't really keep up. I sort of find it a bit puzzling. If phobia means you're scared of it, you know, arachnophobia, I'm scared of spiders. If these people were scared of trans, well, they wouldn't be going there and, you know, threatening them. They'd be running away. So they've got an International Day Against. Just read that again. International Day Against. Don't they normally have international days for something? For women, you know, Father's Day, Mother's Day. There's so many international days, but it's always for something. For cancer treatments or whatever. It's a day against. So it's against people who think a certain thing. So it's an international day against a group of people. It might be the first one. I could be wrong. So Monash resident Greg attended. So was he a parent or just interested in listening to a man wearing women's clothing reading a fairy tale? Because that'd be very odd. Wouldn't imagine too many men would be doing that. And someone called him a faggot, a grim and a pedo. So how was he presenting himself? Well, was sort of a bit flamboyantly, perhaps. That girl's got a sign. I think you can see it later on. Trans have always been here. Well, no, they haven't always been in libraries talking to kids. They're normally sort of in the privacy of an adult situation. That's where they normally are. Anyway, Dan, geez, he was going off on the floor of Victoria's esteemed Parliament. They're still talking about parliaments as though people hold them in high regard. I look at now pictures of the House of Reps and the Senate, and I just think, you bunch of scumbags. I hate them. They're the lowest of the low. There's nothing grand about them at all. But anyway, they're trying to, on the floor of Parliament is where he was speaking. So Dan was condemning the shameful conduct. Like I said before. Keep doing it. He doesn't like it. There, he's got a list there. Got a litany. Bigotry. Racism. Sexism. What? Put that there because homophobia and transphobia, that's even a bit of a stretch. But what when they're singling out what different drag queens, depending on you know what their racial profile was. Oh, no, we're not protesting that one, just that one. Oh, look, he's got to try and find something. So down on the floor of Parliament, where you can say stuff without being sued. You can lie and defame people as much as you want. I wonder if that's what this is about. Ugly scenes. Ugly scenes! He said it twice. On any measure, including Death threats against council officers and council... Okay, so they've ramped it up. Remember, it was commentary that was interpreted as being threats of violence. Well, this is now death threats. Well, that's a serious police matter. Can we expect an update on investigations? Or, because it's on the floor of Parliament, anyone will say, hang on, if he having to go at me, I might sue him. Oh, I can't. Now, apparently, Dan is a misconception that people believe that if you get tied to, say, being a Floridian who supports DeSantis, well, that's bad. Majority of people who listen to what he has to say and the laws he's brought in, especially on Disney, he sorted them out, well, they'd agree with him. As the dad used to think, if you want to behave like the worst elements of Florida, the Republican Party, well, go to Florida. Get over there. Does that mean that no one's done anything that they can be prosecuted for? Where your hateful views might be worth something. They're worth nothing here. We won't stand for that ugly behaviour. It's appalling. God. Floor of Parliament. I wonder if a lot of people left like the British parliamentarians did during the guy's attempted COVID jab speech. Now, Dan sort of finishes it off, trails it off with some nonsense, fluff nonsense about equality and love. Oh, they're two words. Ordinarily, you think, well, they're positive things, aren't they? But one thing that he doesn't mention is what the protesters were yelling out, children. Now, once on the floor of Parliament, did he go, how dare these protesters yell out they want to protect children? They can't, because really that's what he's saying. But he's careful, on the floor of Parliament, to be deceptive. Look at that last sentence. No matter who they are or who they love. Oh my God, Dad, it will be over. Wow, until I think about it for more than fucking 1.5 seconds. So speaking of the kids, by the way, is Dan or any member of Parliament anywhere in Australia, all their corporate banker masters, all the bankers and CEOs and all that, do you reckon they'd ever let a grown man they did not know extrovertly wearing female clothing and makeup speak and read a story to their kids, like in close proximity for an hour or so? And do they just, thinking about it, they just read the story? They have to have some intro. Oh, do you know who I am? Do you know what I'm about? Do they like go on with that for a little while before they open the book? Who the hell knows? It's good that they're getting cancelled so you don't find out. But there's no way. Dad, I guarantee you, he's got a young family, I think, or maybe they get a little bit older, but when they were younger, or even if, like now, he would never, ever let one of those drag queens. Look, they're adult entertainers. They've got a place in society. They want to do it. Some people like it. It's more so adult themed. Late at night somewhere in the middle of the city. Well, that's where that goes on. Not a sunny afternoon in a library. Remember earlier on, I highlighted that the story said that it was controversial. Drag Queen Story Hour. So it's not accepted by people. If it was, well, it wouldn't be controversial. Just like what he says here, you'd be on the fringe. So this is their mantra. So it is wrong and out of step with the values of fair-minded, decent Victorians, mainstream Victorians. No, see, they're trying to flip it now, but it's not going to work. It is just not going. I don't know how they think they're going to get away with this, because, when men march off to war. And also women these days too get all involved. Like when a nation goes to war, if it's a threat against their children and the next generations, that's what they're fighting for. So people know it's about kids. You're not going to get near people's kids. This is not going to, I like this term, endurate down to a fixture in society, no matter how many times that, like I said before, he would never ever let these characters anywhere near his kids. He doesn't want them, their brains fried and screwed up. Trying to end up having a daughter all confused. She's 15, like all the hormones going through kids at that age, and she makes a rash decision and gets talked into having things chopped off. I mean, this thing's horrific. I don't want to go down that path, but this is a feel-good story. In that it got shut down, and I hope that they just keep going on with it, and we become exactly like Florida. Now here's the footage they put with this story. It only goes for, well, I think, less than 10 seconds. This was all they could find to try and make people look bad, although they did accidentally put some of the signs up. Don't drag kids into this. They don't want people to know that it's about kids. They're trying to say, no, you're against these, this section of society. No, we're just for the kids, and they shouldn't be near them. That's what it's about. Anyway, here we go.
Mate, what happened?
So she gets to show her side. Now, they probably had to show the other side to make it like they weren't biased, but you kind of got a fleeting glimpse of the, don't drag isn't for kids, but she gets to show this one. Oh, yeah, but I think it's less than 0.1% of the population. But they're mainstream now, apparently, according to Dan.
Mate, what happened?
So we got a Ray Epps type character here. You're not really sure what he's doing. All you know is that he's yelling. Look at the angry look on his face. He's a white guy, middle-aged, bald. He's the most aggressive that they could find. Well, like I said, a Ray Epps. He was placed there.
What happened? What happened?
They're just rubbish. They're useless.
They don't really show which side Ray's on, but obviously he's pointing towards saying they're useless. Look, I'm a white guy getting aggro. That's I'm not trying to be stereotypical. Good job, Ray. Go collect your money.
All of us.
So that was it. That's all they could show to try and make the protesters look bad, because probably the rest of it, they just had placards and saying quite reasonable things and mentioning children every second sentence. So they couldn't have that being mentioned too many times. They did manage to show that, the calm girl with her little sign up looking so sad. I'm on the side of the trans. And Ray Epps yelling and screaming. That was it. But anyway, I thought this was a good result, according to Dan. It's a terrible, shameful story. Well, I think job well done, Victorians. All right, that's it for this one.